I want to talk about friends and associates. I've been getting a couple of messages from old subscribers, whether they are on my Facebook or they used to comment on my videos. And some of them are asking, why did you delete me, or why did you block me, shit like that. And I'm the type of guy, I rarely block anyone or even delete people on my Facebook unless I see that maybe just you really just an ignorant person, or you say things that I feel like neither insult my people or insult me in general. I'm not that sensitive to where I'm gonna cry or say I'm gonna delete you off my Facebook. I'm not one of those type of guys. And I feel like us as a people, especially within the black community, we need to learn how to agree to disagree or agree to agree. And what I mean by that is, we all come from different backgrounds. And I said this before, in many of my videos, we all have different life experience. We come from different regions of the world. Some of us grew up in two-parent households. Some of us grew up in single-parent households. Some of us come from different economical standpoints. And we all going to have different views. I think that collectively as a people, some of the same views we should share, and I'm sure we have a lot of the same experience, but at the same time, we're not all the same people. We all don't think alike due to our childhood and our life experience and our background. So I think it's important for us to be mature and learn how to listen to other people's point of view and leave your biased point of views out the window. But a lot of people, I run across, and I'm a cool guy. I know a lot of people on YouTube, they have their personal Facebook or whatever, and they don't have like neither a page that you can like or whatever, but it's not their personal page. And I understand that. A lot of people don't want a whole bunch of YouTube people on their Facebook, and I'm one of those people. But also at the same time, I feel like if I don't fully trust you enough to add you on my personal page, why even have you involved in general, So I do add people to my personal page. I do watch who I add and who is adding me. But at the same time, I'm not going to make a knowledge speaks truth like page, nothing like that. I feel like I invite everyone into my world. You can see what's going on in my life, or what I'm gonna talk about next, or etc. etc. I'm a very thought-provoking guy. I speak my mind, and I display that a lot on Facebook, not just here on YouTube, but just on Facebook when I can't always get on here to make a video. So I invite people into my world, but at the same time, when I do that, I expect you to respect my thoughts, respect my opinions, respect my page, and respect me as a person. And there's a lot of people who will add me, and they're confrontational. They say a lot of ignorant things, or just like I've said before, I've had people come in my inbox and try to stir up mess, try to get me to talk about another YouTuber, or basically being an instigator. And I'm not somebody that's dumb. I know when somebody is trying to cause commotion or trying to basically try to punk me. And when I say that, I mean try to use certain tactics to get me to speak about certain things, or to react on neither angry or emotional type of level. And that's not me. So when I see that, and I see that you're destructive and you're trying to be messy, or you're trying to basically force me to talk about certain things, or just like I've said, I've had people come and try to tell me what to talk about on my channel, and I've had to check people. But when I see those type of things, it makes me question who you are. It makes me question whether I should have you on my channel on YouTube or have you on my Facebook. Because if you're destructive in that type of way, or you want to cause commotion or get me to say certain things about certain YouTubers that I might be cool with, I find that to be very destructive behavior. and therefore I might have to go and delete you off of my Facebook or block you off of my YouTube, because there's enough drama that I deal with and a lot of other YouTubers deal with that we don't need extra mess. And there's been people that here on YouTube, and like I've said before, I've met some great people here on YouTube. Some people who I would consider, I've never met them in person, but I would consider, very close and cool associates of mine. And there's been people that I've had to, stop talking to, or maybe they deleted me, or I had an incident where there was somebody I was cool with, and I was once on their personal Facebook page, and then I got added to I guess their YouTube channel. Remind you, I was real cool with this person, and I was like, okay, well, maybe they just deleted me by mistake off of their personal Facebook, and they want to just add me to the YouTube Facebook page or whatever. So I said, okay, well, let me go ahead and add this person again. Added them. And I like I said before, I get an intuition about certain things, so I'll say, let me go check this person's temperature. Let me go see if they possibly deleted me off of their, their Facebook page. So I'll go back the next day, and there it is. I'm deleted. I'm still added on their YouTube page, but I'm deleted off their personal page. And like I said, this is somebody I was cool with. So, these are just the things that go on. And, I don't have a problem with that. If you want to keep YouTube people on a certain page and then your personal page, I have nothing against that. That's your personal right, but don't be fake about it. Somebody could have said, hey, I want to keep my YouTube friends on this channel. I want to keep my personal life on my own personal Facebook, and it would have been all good. No beef. But when people play both sides, that they're not being real about the issue, or just like my example that I just told you, adding me and then you're gonna delete me, and then I add you again and you delete me again. It's like, to me, I find it to be childish. And I've had people think that I'm speaking about them in certain videos, or maybe I made a video where I was speaking in general, and it got taken personal by somebody, and their own emotions and being sensitive, and I've gotten deleted. So it's just a whole thing here on YouTube. But I do understand that here on YouTube we have people who are fake, pretend like they like you, but they really don't. And then there's people out there who really support you, and I would consider to be real good friends. Whether we met in person or not. I would consider some people to be real cool people and real good friends and associates of mine. But for you guys that have been hitting me up and asking why you got blocked or you got deleted, it was for a reason. Not from an emotional standpoint, nothing like that. It's just, like I said, I don't have time for bullshit. I don't have time for people being messy, or people trolling, or people who can't listen or viewing somebody else's point of view or outlook on a certain situation. I don't have time for it. I'm a grown ass man. I expect anybody who deals with me to conduct themselves as a grown man. And I understand there's people out here who lack maturity. So they take issues that might be serious within our community or just in general, and they take it to the heart, or they don't know how to sit back and be serious about certain issues, and they act out, and they act like they're 5 years old, and I can't be around people like that. I want positive people who can be logical about things, can have an adult conversation and not get butthurt about it, or not play both sides. But that's just my video out here, for you guys that might be questioning why you got blocked or why you got deleted. And I rarely do that, even if I somewhat don't like a lot of things about your character. But there's sometimes when I do need to block people, or I do need to delete people. But that's just my video. I'm out. Thanks for everybody that subscribes to me and comments. I appreciate everything. I don't get on here and take you guys for granted or say, oh yeah, whatever, you comment and cool. I appreciate everybody who gives their input, whether I agree with you or not, whether you agree with me or not. I appreciate everybody. But I'm out. Peace.